All right, welcome back everyone to another episode of Wonderful Webinars. Today we are so excited to welcome a friend and a fascinating human being logging in all the way from Kenya. We have Collins Ochumbe, who is a dear friend of Susie's. He's a conservation partner. And today we're going to be learning about his work in conservation as well as his work as a paramedic in the Maasai Mara. So Susie, I'll let you give a little quick intro to Collins and then let you guys dive right into your interview.
Thank you so much, Heather, and welcome, Collins. Nice to see you, my friend. Um,
Thank you
Collins,
so much.
Collins Ochumbe is indeed a paramedic to the Maasai tribe and in the Maasai Mara animal. I don't even know what is it, a national park or a preserve, or what is it? Maasai Mara.
National Reserve.
Okay, National Reserve. Okay. And so they call him Doctari, and he actually travels around. You'll see in a little while as we get into the conversation. He travels to the different calls that he gets on a motorcycle with a medical pack on the back. So he's very mobile and serves a lot of people and does really good work. So Collins, welcome to the webinar. I really appreciate you bringing some of the images that you'll be sharing with us and some of the different displays of the things that the tools that you use each day as you go through your work. I know that together you and my fiance Rob have started a foundation called Conservation Warriors, and that you are dedicated to, through education, protecting endangered species, endangered plant life,
Yes.
and educating local populations that are near the park as to how to maybe live in harmony with animals instead of having friction between animals and the people in the villages around the parks. So, but first, I want to just get you talking. I would love you to tell the story of Collins. What's your background like? Where do you come from? What was your childhood like? And how in the world did you become a paramedic in one of the most beautiful parks on the planet?
Oh, beautiful. Thank you so much. And I'm so glad to be on this show. I've been looking forward for such kind of opportunities that I could share my story to the world. My name is Collins Ochumbe, a firstborn son in a family of three. My dad is still alive. My mom is still alive. Thomas Ochumbe and Celine Atieno. I was born in the lakeside town of Kisumu, that is the shores of Lake Victoria,
Mm,
back in 1983. That is 42 years now. And
cool.
then my parents moved to the Maasai Mara reserve where they settled. And I've gone through my schooling around this side of the world. Being as a young boy, I had never looked at myself being a tour guide or a conservationist, but it came about because wild animals were the normal thing. You wake up to elephants crossing the road, you listen to loud noises of hyenas at night, and that is what triggered me to want to know more about these animals. So I went to primary school, I went to high school, and joined college and did my first information technology course, a diploma, and then stopped at that. So in Africa, with the poverty levels and all that, your parents are able to take you to school up to a certain level, and then you're left alone to now hit the world. You tangle and mingle until you get yourself you are where you want to land at. So that is how I landed at hospital, because I was very passionate about helping the sick, and I would help as a first aider because I was a scout as a boy. So that was my interest that's where my interest to medicine came about. Being born and brought up with the wild animals, my love for conservation built up, and that was the onset of my efforts to do conservation work. A bit of my education life. There's a beautiful story about myself when I was 19, 20 years old.
Yeah.
A friend of mine had a girlfriend who was pregnant. The girlfriend was giving birth in the hostel where we were staying. Being a first aider, I was told to try and assist because I knew a bit of bleeding control along that. But this time around, I was wrong. Uh, a woman giving birth is not a joke, and it was not first aid anymore. There's a lot of blood that I had never seen in my life.
Yeah.
So it prompted us to look for transport to hospital. So when I got to hospital, I was told, thank you for helping the young lady, but your assistant ends here. I'm like,
Okay.
oh, why? Why am I ending here? So you're not a doctor, you're not allowed to get into the hospital. So that was a trigger. That was the point I decided I want to know what happens inside hospital.
Oh, wow. That's great.
And I now started looking for ways of getting to medical school. It was hectic until I met Hugh Paxton, the Paxton family, they were helping a conservancy that I was working with as a community ranger. So I approached Paxton, and he was very willing to help me go through education, and that is how I went to med school in Nairobi from Maasai Mara uh, to a culture shock where there are so many vehicles. In Masai Mara, I'm used to so many animals, but now to the city, I could now see motorcycles, buses, lorries,
Right.
small cars, post cars, and I'm like, oh, okay, the world is better here. So I did my emergency medicine, then advanced emergency medical technician, and then advanced to paramedicine. And that is how I found myself being a medic. It took me 2.5 years, and I got a practicing license to now treat the sick, stitch wounds, which was very positive for my work at Maasai Mara National Reserve.
I'm sure.
At some point, I was referred to as a hero because whenever someone had injuries, I would be called on phone. So I let my number out there to conservation rangers, these conservancies. We have wildlife conservancies in the Mara where I'm normally called all the time to assist the injured. So in a nutshell, that is my journey. To conservation warriors, it became as a default. I was so passionate about conservation, and then came in Robert Ball and Michael Brosman. Michael Brosnan in South Africa, we were doing a conservation activity together. We had a common platform that we would share stories from all over the world. So I
Yeah.
shared my stories, he shared his stories, and that is how we started working on creating tree nurseries, but specifically for indigenous species of trees, the podocarpus, the yellowback acacia, how to grow them from scratch. So a template was sent to me, and I tried it out in 2, 3 primary schools, and it worked. That was the onset of conservation with trees and children.
So tell me,
Michael Grossman,
let me ask a
yes.
little question about that then. So what was the catalyst for wanting to bring the trees back? Was there a problem with deforestation in the Masai Mara, or where did the tree conservancy, where did it stem from? No pun intended.
Good pun. It should
Beautiful
be
question.
intended.
Yeah, so Masai Mara and surroundings were always full of trees when I was growing up.
Yeah.
But now there was this issue of charcoal burning and, of course, cutting down trees to build structures when
Right.
rural urban migration. People trying to build houses, we're trying to build fences,
Right.
and of course, the charcoal bit. So many trees had been cut down, and rainfall was also disappearing. So I decided to pick it up and try as much as possible to grow trees with a little effort and with no funding. Um, there is a story about hummingbird.
Yeah.
The hummingbird story is an eye-opener. There was a story about a burning bush. The hummingbird is a very small bird, like my thumb,
Right.
this size.
Right.
So the hummingbird saw a burning bush, and she or he or it decided to go to the river to get small amount of water to drop in the burning bush, in the burning forest fire.
Right.
So it did it uh, for the entire day until the hummingbird got tired. But in the hummingbird's head, I thought of whenever this small drop of water would hit a burning fire, it goes off. So the hummingbird was busy putting off the fire
Wow.
in the bush. So
Right.
it is a small effort that the hummingbird was doing to save the world. So my efforts and Robert is that small, but it is envisioned to change the world.
I love that analogy. I love that story. Thank you for sharing the hummingbird story with us. I know from the safaris that I have led through the years, and you'll back me up on this, I'm sure. I know the power of one tree. I've seen it
Yes.
on the plains of the Serengeti, where maybe there was a big forest at one point, but now it's just one magnificent acacia tree. And on a hot day, there might be 200 animals that are trying to shove themselves into the shade of that one tree. And so your efforts to try and bring those trees back not only help put oxygen in the air for Earth, but it also provides needed shade and shelter for birds and animals and food sources, right, for giraffes and so forth. So I applaud your tree conservancy. I know you just had a big event this last weekend. I think that's what we're seeing some pictures from. There we go. Is this all from this weekend or this past week, Collins? These photos that we're looking at here?
Yes, that was last weekend, and it was it's a very beautiful project we are doing with conservation warriors. There's some bit I missed in the introduction. I would like to bring it here.
Sure, please. I didn't mean to cut you off in any way. Please finish what you wanted to tell us for sure and explain these
And
photos
also
too.
feel free to also throw an idea or as you proceed. So conservation warriors was a name that we decided, me and Robert.
Uh-huh.
Like we are warriors of conservation, and we only had two aspects: conservation education.
Uh-huh.
We are not on research. We are not on the flora and fauna management structures and all that. We are doing conservation awareness creation and targeting children, because children are the future custodians of conservation. And then two, we have conservation and health. And that is why you see we are so much into medics of the Mara, uh, training rangers on what to do in case of an emergency,
Right.
bleeding control, CPR, just general first aid, and the measures that we can take. We tried an idea with Robert when he was in Kenya. There is this issue of crowding of tour vehicles near a
Yes.
wild animal when we do our game drives. So Robert asked the rangers to just try one thing, try to control the movement of vehicles in the park. The next day, our park was very organized. There was a pack of lions somewhere and one vehicle at a time.
Yeah.
And Rob could not stop smiling. I was like, oh, wow, this is the power of education. So
Yeah.
we are targeting conservation with education and awareness creation. So we have sessions with children. That is why you see my past activity was with school learners, and of course, the team of conservation that we have. So Conservation Warriors has a team of volunteers, about 12 of us, and we have a partnering arrangement with the Kenya Wildlife Service Rangers. We
Right.
have a team of around, so we move as a team, depending on the resources. We have a vehicle, we move as a team, to go and meet children in schools to tell them more about the importance of conserving our environment, including animals and trees, flora and fauna. We do this targeting churches, which are so many around Maasai Mara, of course, learning institutions which are above high school, the tertiary institutions, and
Yeah.
we also do it with the rangers because they also need to walk the talk of conservation because they're the frontline
Right.
people in conservation idea. And then again, we also have a very important aspect on conservation. Of course, we have not tried it, we have not started it yet. It's biofencing, where we have beehives to control movement of elephants in the Mara.
I'm a big fan of that project. I know they're doing some biofencing work in Tanzania, and I think also Zambia, and having great success with it. There's one organization, one beautiful lodge that we sometimes take our guests to, who have a massive garden, and it's up on the hills, the side of the Ngorongoro crater in a town called Karatu. And they've had problems in the past with elephants rampaging through the middle of their garden and just trampling all of their crops. And now they just bring in these biofencing beehives or set a smoky fire in the evening. And the combination of the bees and the fire have kept the elephants away, and everybody's living in harmony now instead of having any friction between the wildlife and the people. So I applaud every effort like that you can do to help educate people and give them alternatives to just harming animals, right? Let's find a way to coexist instead of having one species, be it human or whatever, being more dominant or aggressive.
We also have a really interesting blog article that dives into the process of the geofencing with the bees. So if you want to check that out, it is on Wanderful Tanzania's blog page on the website. So that'll tie everything back in.
So good work, my friend, on all of that. I'm so proud of you. And when I look at these pictures, knowing what Conservation Warriors is all about, I'm very proud of you and of the efforts that you're and the strides that you're making in Kenya. And I love that you're partnering with schools and partnering with the rangers and educating every step of the way. I think that's the only way to solve any of our problems is to collaborate and educate. So my hat is off to you for those projects. I think then, Collins, you could tell a little bit about last year when Robert was there visiting and how you got the rangers together and did some medical training for them and how that empowers them to be better stewards of the Maasai Mara too, because they can not only treat each other, but if any guests are in the park that are injured, they have the ability to do some basic life saving and first aid and stuff like that. Do you want to talk about that training session that took place last year? Tell us about the military aspect.
The medical is beautiful. I had shared a story about the young lady who was giving birth.
Yes.
And I hadn't seen such kind of bleeding, and that was the trigger that I need to now get deep into this and learn what can I do in such a kind of a situation. So I eventually went to medical school in Nairobi. I did emergency medical technician, and then advanced emergency medical technician, and then paramedicine. So after the 3 steps, now I have a practicing license. A woman giving birth now is one of the easiest things I can do. As long as I have my gloves, I'm able. Actually, the shirt I'm wearing is written Ministry of Health. For the Ministry of Health. So I'm not employed right now, but I go to locums at our local hospital, the Narok County Referral Hospital, where I go whenever they need locum staff. I go for 2 days in a week, and I'm paid for that. But the only problem is that in Kenya, there are so many trained medics, and employment is an issue. Robert was trying to get me some job somewhere, but it didn't work out.
I see.
So I am a paramedic, but whenever I go to the park, I offer my services as a medic when called upon to tend to wounds, to tend to people who are sick. I even refer to various hospitals whenever I can. But my greatest strength is on trainings
Yeah,
because so many people need to have the emergency medical education. What do you
right.
do when someone is? What do you do when someone has fainted? What do you do when someone has a cardiac arrest or a heart attack? So I developed a small career that takes us through basic first aid, and I included deliberately heart attack and cardiac arrest because people do not know what to do when someone finally collapses and they're not breathing, there is no pulse. So
Right.
I train this. The laptop I'm using now, I was a present from Robert Ball when he came, because I used to have an old laptop here that could not hold a battery for even 2 minutes. So I would plug it in when power is off, it goes off, and now I explain with like a sign language. But now I have a beautiful laptop, and of course, all that I do, I document. I have these lenses. I
Uh,
have two cameras, Nikon D3 100 and Nikon D3 500. These machines have
Wonderful.
changed. Yes.
I said, that's wonderful. I'm looking at your equipment and I can see the difference that that makes to you being able to educate people, being able to send photos and to have a computer that is reliable where you can get that information out. That's a gift for
Uh,
you. I love that. Good job.
and of course, I have this tripod stand that whenever
Uh-huh.
I'm training, I just put it somewhere and then set my camera, and
Yeah.
I'm able to ask someone to assist me do that. So I have these lenses. Uh, Susie had mentioned something about Robert's visit last year and the kind of training that we did. So my first aid trainings are targeted to the staff that work in lodges and camps
Okay.
because they host guests who are non-hypertensive, who are non-diabetic. So I take them through this curriculum so that they know what to do in case their guest falls ill. They can call my number and I give you instructions before we get an ambulance. It has a lot of challenges because my mode of movement is that motorbike. I
Right.
have a Yamaha DT that I saved and bought it as some 4 years ago. At times when it's down, I just uh, go with other vehicles. I ask for lifts. There's a challenge, but I'm able to try my best to even use public means to reach down there. When Robert was around, we had two very important sessions with the Rangers and Talek Boys High School students. With the
Oh.
students, we did a first aid,
Mm-hmm.
Are you
a
talking
first
about
aid
these?
training session for the boys. Uh, this that is in a camp, of course, training on CPR, and we did a skills orientation where they would imitate whatever we are teaching, so that we understand that they have learned. Very importantly, we taught them how to check on the pressure points when checking for circulation, the pulse, how to know that someone is able to circulate blood from the heart to the extremities.
Right.
So that was taught, and of course, how to do secondary assessment for a patient or a casualty who has suddenly fallen ill from head to toe, what to check on and how to do first aid. If it is a deformity, how to apply splints. And that is why these trauma bags are very important because I'm able to demonstrate even how to make a splint on the arm sling, on the
Oh,
lower extremities,
Right.
how to split legs, how to lift carry people who are injured. So that was covered so well. The same curriculum was used when I was training the rangers, and Robert had two other guests who are apparently were medics. So they helped a lot in group work on training how to lift and carry injured people. Of course,
Right.
taking care of the spine from the C-spine to the lumbar sacral. That was captured so well. And then again, now we added a bit of conservation warriors
Right.
um, plans.
Yeah. Yeah. That's fantastic. I think she's going to play this video. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a video about, yeah. So this is my trainings with community rangers, how to control bleeding on extremities.
Okay.
Of
Great.
course, in the hand above the heart, applying pressure and doing an arm sling so that the patient, the casualty gets to hospital with minimal injury or damage.
That's great. That is so great. And it looks like there are plenty of people that need that knowledge and that are interested in learning it. So good for you for getting out there and taking your education and then continuing to make other people smarter and more able to help as well through cross training and training the community. That's fantastic. Oh my gosh. So what's going on in this picture? It looks like you're getting an award.
Oh, wow. That was a safety training that was done 2 months ago in Nairobi.
Uh-huh.
And I was awarded as one of the best participants. It was online, and then, of course, we had a physical training. So this was a trainer of trainers on
Oh,
public safety.
wonderful. That's so great.
Awesome.
What happens, it is, we call it incident command system. Whenever you find yourself in a bomb blast or a mass casualty incident,
Uh-huh.
so who takes the lead role? So we talk of first boot on the scene, and then you
Right.
hand over to the next until everyone gets help. About controlling people not to get injured whenever there's a mass incident that
Wow.
involves people. So I was among the best. That's why I was awarded that certificate. I think I even have the certificate in physical copy, and I'll share it maybe after this video, after this interview.
Yeah.
And the person who was giving me this certificate is the National Disaster Management Officer from the government. He's a police general, and I had been invited to go pick my award.
That's fantastic, Collins. Congratulations on that. That's so important. Good work, my friend. So, Collins, when you're out and about in the Maasai Mara, I'm sure that you've had your share of accidental game driving. Like it's when you're out there,
Yes.
you're amongst the wildlife, even if you're not in an official safari truck. I appreciated earlier what you were saying about the rangers learning to control the crowds and how that takes pressure off of animals. Oh boy, what is this guy doing? Look at this great video.
That was a child bath.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that is a child bath that was captured. I captured with this lens.
So, what is on the ground? I
Yeah,
didn't hear.
it looks like an animal.
A
Is
baby
it?
elephant?
Yeah, the elephant is giving birth.
An elephant
Oh,
gave birth. That's what it
why it
is.
was walking backwards like that?
Yes, and then all
Yes.
the other elephants come to celebrate the birth of the
Oh
elephant,
my
right?
gosh. I thought it was in reverse at first.
I did too. That's what I thought, but then they just gave birth. Oh my
Oh, I
God.
see. Okay. Wow.
Oh my God.
And then she just yells and everyone comes running.
Yeah. And then everybody else
Yes.
goes, let's go celebrate. That is such a great video. Oh my goodness.
Wow.
And you were in the right place at the right time for that, huh? Wow.
Yeah, actually, these things just get us by coincidence because we live and work with the animals in the Mara. At times, you're not even interested in doing a game drive, and you see something like that, and then you capture it on camera, and you have.
That's so fantastic. Thank you for sharing that video with us, for sure. Oh my goodness, here's another great bunch of elephants. That's just
Yeah,
beautiful. So I don't know about you, but you're from Kenya. You're from a place where you can go out and this is what you see all the time. And so I always ask this of my guides too. Does it get old for them? And across the board, they say no. That every time they can get out into the nature, the natural part of their country, that they love it and they're so proud of it and they want to protect it. And so now I don't know what I am, 16, 17 safaris in to my career of leading safaris. And I can now confirm that it just doesn't get old because just when you come around the corner, the bend in the road, you see something like what we just saw, like an elephant being born or a zebra being born or something else that
yeah,
takes your breath away. And you have such an appreciation for this whole other part of the world that exists, whether humans are here or not. So
yeah.
I think it's a blessing that you live in such a beautiful country and that you, through educating yourself and through making connections with community and with like the rangers and various parts of the operation of these parks, that you get to go often into these places and witness this beauty just as you're on your way to do your job for the day. So I love all of these images. This zebra image blows my mind. I'm going to have to borrow that from you and
Okay.
put it in my marketing, I think, because that's just a fantastic shot.
It just doesn't look real. It's so perfect.
It's so perfect.
Collins,
So
can you tell us about when you captured that picture?
Yeah, this was just a random photo after I was done with the training at Mara camp. So on my way out, there was a bunch of zebras standing on the road. So we had to stop for them to pass. When we stopped, this group stopped too to look at us. And that is where when I got my phone and took a photo. Actually,
oh,
when I came home, I looked at the photo and I was like, oh, this photo is a beautiful one. And that is why I saved it.
um,
And it happens like that because we live among these animals and we are able to get the good photos when you don't plan. The day I carry my camera and my lenses going to take photographs, I don't get good photos. But when I'm just on my way to somewhere else, I
that's
get a
true.
very nice post of of a, of a, of a bird, nice post of a cheetah, and randomly. So good photos are normally very random.
Yeah. I'm jealous
You
of
like,
this one, Collins, because every time I come upon a group of zebras, a herd of zebras, all I get are the tails, right? Like they all look at you for a
oh yeah,
second before you can
they
get
ran
your
away.
camera. They've all turned around. Yeah. So, but three of my favorite things about zebras is most people who have not been on safari don't realize that the babies aren't black and white, but they're brown and white and very fuzzy.
Yes,
They're adorable.
yes,
And then I love the diamond pattern on their faces and their tails that look like they're braided from behind it. If you until you get up close and you just see that it's a pattern, it looks like it's literally braided. So I love those creatures, and I like that the noise they make doesn't in any way seem like the noise they should make. Like you expect them to neigh like a horse or something like that, but a donkey, and not a donkey, a zebra bray is and unlike anything else you've ever heard. It's very distinctive. So thank you for bringing those images in. Oh my goodness, it continues.
Oh, yeah.
yes.
Oh,
So I wanted to mention something about conservation warriors projects that we're doing that involves apart from tree planting, we have that health and of course education. I would like to extend this kind of thing to Tanzania. If we could also the partner or with Wonderful Tanzania so that we could do the same health trainings we do in the Mara could be extended to Serengeti and Ngorongoro.
yeah.
With
Oh,
your support, that can be a very big plus. And of course, in schools, Tanzanians speak Swahili. I speak Swahili. So, and education is my thing. I do it as a passion. I do it like I like education, like I like ugali. You know what ugali is?
for all intents and purposes, think polenta,
Okay.
right? It's a cornmeal kind of a base, but they'll pick it up with their hands and like make it can become like a serving vehicle. Like they can scoop up other food with it and eat it. But it's a part of almost every meal that they have in Tanzania. And it's their staple, right? That's your basic food. And is that the same in Kenya?
Yes, same
Yeah.
in Kenya. Ugali is our favorite. So I love training just like I love ugali because I know the impact is you're saving so many lives.
Yeah.
I the number of times I go to work in hospital, I have seen people brought to the facility. Of
Mhm.
course, there's a history of choking and they die
Oh,
because nobody knew what was to be done at that state. So whenever I go out to meet a team of boys and girls,
mhm.
adults, women, I I think I feel like I've achieved. It's fulfilling. That's how I can explain it. When they ask questions like, "What do I do when someone is bleeding?" and you answer, and they're like, "Oh wow!" I feel like it is an achievement because I know I have saved so many lives
Yeah.
with just training alone and telling them that it can be done. It is possible. It is not rocket science to save someone's life. It is just confidence and the willingness to assist.
Right.
And has worked so well. So I would wish that we extend this to Tanzania so that
Yeah.
whatever I do here is also done in Tanzania. That would be a great
Well,
plus.
that's so inspirational because I think just look at the example that you set for the younger kids that you deal with. You show them that becoming a medic, a paramedic, a doctor, a nurse, whatever it is not beyond their grasp. They have to apply themselves, they have to dig into it. And then there's plenty of work to be done. And that's an important message. So I'm proud of you for that. I do agree. We being from Tanzania, we share that border with Kenya. We are neighbors. And there's nothing to say
Oh
that
yeah, yeah.
as I get more involved with the conservation warrior, I don't know, agenda, I can see that there will be some crossover between Kenya and Tanzania in the work that you do. So thank you for being the catalyst for that. I appreciate that a lot. Yeah, this is the beginning. And the first project we're going to tackle together is the Souls on the Savannah project that we started. Um, I hope that I can have Heather. No, perfect. I was going to say she can pull that up. This is a project, everyone, that Collins and I are collaborating on right now, and Rob Ball, my fiance. We are raising money to buy new boots for the animal protectors, for those wilderness protectors, the rangers of the Maasai Mara. Boots are not part of their standard issue uniform up there. They have to provide their own footwear. And a lot of these men and women are walking miles and doing hard work in worn out shoes. And so we thought, we can't boil the ocean, but we can certainly do a small thing, like you were saying, be that hummingbird that takes one beak full of water at a time, and makes a change. We want to bring
Yes.
30 pairs of boots on the next safari in August. I've recruited all of my guests to help us transport the boots to Tanzania. And then on an appointed time and date, we'll meet up with Collins and some of the rangers at the border markers and provide them with a new set of boots. And so if anybody who is seeing this webinar wants to still donate, the fundraiser will be open for about 10 to 12 more days. And then it's time to buy those boots and start getting packed and ready to head to Tanzania and Kenya. So this is a great one. This is something I'm really proud to be a part of. And thank you for being the catalyst for getting this moving, Collins. It's fantastic. Yeah, so this is the first of a lot of work that we're going to do together, I'm sure. And I just want you to know that you just have my admiration and my gratitude. I thank you for what you've done in your life and everything that you took from that training and all that you give back to both humankind and the animal kingdom as well. So thank you for your work. if there is anything else that you want to express to the folks that are watching this, if there's a place that they can buy a t-shirt or somehow support you, if you've got a graphic that you can supply to us, I'll put that into the video as well, and maybe ask for people to make donations to help some of your efforts there as well. So if you have that kind of thing, we can do that.
Oh, yeah. So
more video.
That's a good one. And thank you too for believing in what we do here in a small way, like the hummingbird. We cannot change the whole world, but you can change the small part in Africa, in Kenya and Tanzania, and then people will copy and paste, and that is our greatest wish.
Absolutely.
Something else I want to say is nature has no voice.
Right.
Wild animals do not have a voice. When people come for trophy hunting, they cannot say no. They can only run away. But of course, with the bullets and the guns, the trophy hunters always win.
Yes.
So Robert and I, and now Susan Langley, we're coming together to do awareness and education.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I've always written down that in the next 30 years, if nothing is done, there'll be no single lion in Serengeti and Maasai Mara. Very bad statistics that we can change if we tell the younger generation that the future belongs to them, and these wild animals are also as important as human beings. When you kill one animal, you're killing life. And it's painful if the future generation will not see this beautiful nature that we enjoy now. That is what keeps me moving, and it's what keeps us waking up with new ideas on how to make it much, much better.
Right.
Of course, Conservation Warriors has merchandise. We have t-shirts, we have hoodies that we normally sell to raise funds for our activities down here. And the Boots project will be a very big boost to our rangers, because Robert saw the kind of shoes they were wearing. They're not in good condition, but they wake up every day, whether it rains or it's sunny, to use the same boots for their daily activities in protecting Mother Nature. So thank you so much, Susan and Rob, for coming up with the boots, soles of the savannah, because this is something that will be memorable to our rangers. Something also I had to mention earlier, but I skipped it, was the tree planting activity we did last weekend. Us of conservation warriors who are in Kenya, we normally celebrate birthdays by planting the number of your age as trees. So we had
so great.
Yeah, so if you're turning 26, you plant 26 trees.
Oh boy.
If you're turning 50, you plant 50 trees. And we plant them in public schools. And then we tag children who also join a Conservation Warriors Club. Every child is assigned that tree until they finish school. So it is a method of growing trees that we are passionate about. When you do your birthday with trees, it is memorable and it's fulfilling. You will always remember that when I was turning 29, I planted 29 trees. I've done that ever since I was 38. I'm now 42. This year in August 13th, I'll be turning 42, and I'll plant 42 trees with rangers. And I have done this, and I will also want to extend it to all my friends who are listening to us talk. But if you are not able to plant a tree, you can let Conservation Warriors plant trees for you, your ears.
Susie, love that idea. Yeah, I love that idea. I think that we can
Yeah.
promote that on our website as well. And anybody who wants to do that, even if they can't think of the right birthday gift to give someone who has everything, right? You can do that and you can let them know. They'll get a video of these trees being planted
Yes.
in Africa and they can have that as the keepsake. I think that's a fantastic idea, Collins. I'm going to get behind that one for sure. But I'm 62. I just
A
had
lot
my
of
birthday.
trees.
I would have to plant a forest.
What is the birthday?
My birthday was in June. It was June 12th. So it's just passed. So it's
Just
not
pass.
too
Oh,
late
yes,
for me
yes.
to plant 62 trees, right? Will you help me?
We can do that because we're having our next one is 7th of July. Two of
Okay.
our members are doing their birthdays. The senior warden, Kenya Wildlife Services, and a member of our team. So the member of our team is turning 30 and the warden is turning 55. So
Okay.
we'll be planting 8 trees. Yeah, so we can do uh, Susan Langley's trees on that day and with the children, of course.
Oh,
Yay.
I love
Well,
it.
Yeah.
we'll work that out. We'll work out the details of it when we get off this webinar, but I would be happy to do that. I think that would be so fun. So, and then Rob's got his birthday coming up in September, just after we're in Tanzania.
Oh,
So maybe we'll have to have
beautiful.
him plant 63 trees.
We will get that going. No
Yeah,
worries.
that's wonderful.
I'm in.
This has been
Yeah. And
great. It's
uh,
good to get
so
to spend some time with you, Collins. Thank you so much.
thank you too. I really appreciate and looking forward for much, much more engagements like this. Eye
Yeah.
opener to me, and you never know which direction this might take.
Exactly right. You don't know whose heart this will touch or who it'll motivate to go out and change the world one drop at a time. That's for sure. I like the analogy of a pebble being dropped into a still body of water like a pond and all those little ripples that go out. So I love that analogy. Be the pebble, right? Start the
Yeah.
cascade. So I'm proud of you, sir, and I appreciate you spending the time with me. And I'm hoping that a lot of my guests and people that follow us at Wonderful Tanzania will enjoy this as well. And thank you so much for staying up late and recording this with us, buddy. I appreciate it.
Yeah, all the way from Kenya. So
Oh,
cool.
that's right. That's right. All right. That was a wonderful segment by Collins that joined us all the way from Kenya. I hope that you learned a little bit about the passion of this man for the conservation of both wildlife and his ability to teach and educate children and just save the planet a little bit at a time, like he can do. But we can all do that if we all pitch in together and put our heads together and commit to educating and to doing no harm to this earth and trying to lift up the vibration of the earth. So Collins has conservation warriors that he is always looking for contributions to help him fund these projects, to buy medical packs, to continue educating people on life saving or educating people on how to live in harmony with animals instead of constantly being in conflict with them. We're supporting him, as you heard in the webinar, through a project called Souls on the Savannas, where we're trying to buy boots for the rangers of the Maasai Mara. And so if you want to contribute to that, Heather has the information that she'll put back up, and you can click the link and make a contribution.
All right, guys. So thank you so much for tuning in, and we will see you in the next one.